Now, news that I'm very, very excited for. I was very excited about it last week when the Pocket was announced. And I can't remember if I said it at the time, but my personal view, I thought, yeah, it probably would sell out. And it's one of those things that I just try to log in and buy straight away just in case. Not that they necessarily were really clear about it being a very limited number of pockets, but what ended up happening was really a bit of a kerfuffle with quite a few people.
So can I just say, sorry, your tone of voice tells me that you're one of the fortunate ones from this. You haven't got a pissed off sound in your voice.
Yeah, look like okay. So like I'll cut to the chase. Yes. I was very fortunate to get it, and I'll probably just call out as well. And I do sympathize with people who didn't get it due to just kind of not thinking about it or kind of going, oh wait, that thing's live, like I might jump on. Because as obsessed as I've been about this, and I even said last time that I built a bot to monitor my email from when they announced the pre-order date. And by the way, that bot actually works. It's live still. They never sent an email to confirm that the Pocket's going live on a certain date, and people missed out on it because they don't follow the news. So they just said, oh, they're going to send me an email saying the Pocket's going to get, for pre-order on this date. So I'll just follow my email. That's fine. So some poor people have missed out on it completely because they never sent an email in the first place about it.
I don't know. I don't know how many people involved in the analog business, but I can understand how sometimes this stuff just doesn't happen the way you want it to, especially if it's a small business. So
it's very, very, very small business, and they've struck on something. And just to call it out, we'll round out the show with I'll just say it's me posing a question of how many of these things could they have sold. So we'll cover that at the end in the special feature, but they're a very small business, and I think they've just clicked on something. The context is the first thing they released was like a Neo Geo, like hardware, limited edition, piece of art almost / video game console, right? Like, I don't think Christopher Tabor, the guy who runs Analogue, I think some people, they have a certain personality, and he doesn't strike me as a guy who's like, I'm trying to create this mega company. Like, I think he wants to make a very niche company that makes, things that are at a design level, like easily to me, as good as anything that Apple produces. But, like for retro, but then kind of making it modern. Like, it's a very weird niche thing that he's kind of struck into. And yeah, like, so just to kind of go through what happened to me personally. So I was sitting here talking to my wife on Monday night, and then it clicked over to midnight. So we're in Tuesday, and it's going live Tuesday 1 a.m. And I actually legit like kind of forgot about it. So it was like 12:30 p.m. And then I was sitting there, and then I thought, wait a second, the Pocket is about to go on sale. I'm like, oh my God, I almost forgot about it. So then I log into the site, and I'm like, then I actually, this is sad to say, like I was like almost like had a lot of adrenaline. I was like, oh my God, I can't miss out on this thing. And by the way, like my context was, I didn't think it would sell out really quickly. When they announced, the NT Mini Noir, I think that was open for a week, the pre-orders. And they normally have these pre-orders open for around a week. And they don't typically like sell out that aggressively. Like they've had ones where it sells out in a day or two, and people get a little bit annoyed. But I thought,
can I just ask, get it. They didn't say that there was also going to be super limited amount, did they?
They did say it's limited, but they didn't emphasize how limited, right? And I think they understand how popular the product was and the demand for it, and the fact that they released the tweet kind of indicating that it's going to come out on a certain date, and then, showed the date, and then it was picked up by IGN, GameSpot. They had links to the pre-order, everything like that. It was going to be big, right? Let's be real. But how big, maybe it wasn't so clear. So when I actually logged in, I wanted to get black for me, a white for my wife, and then the dock and a few accessories. I didn't get a Game Gear accessory, by the way. And part of that was because, well, they didn't have the other ones available, and I just thought, I hope that like one day they'll have them all available and, on a second run or something like that, and maybe I'll get it then in one go rather than just get half of them.
How are you ever going to play the Game Gear Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, and I could actually stream it because with the dock and everything like that. So it clicks to close to 1 p.m. So that's like their version of launch at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And what I always do with these things that sell really quickly, I just start refreshing the page before it clicks to the minute mark. So it was like 12:59. So I just started refreshing then, and it actually popped up before it actually clicked over to the actual time, which is weird. So yeah, clicked over, and then I'm like, oh, okay, bang, gotta get this, gotta get that, get it all in my cart and everything like that. Next. And then it actually hung on the shipping. So it just like spun. It didn't give me a shipping number. So I had to back out of it, go back in again, popped up, said the, ridiculous shipping price it is to Australia. And it's just like, it's so crazy. I think I said $140 last week. I think it worked out to be $120 shipping, which is just so bad. And then, yeah, like I was lucky enough to sort of buy it, and I got my order confirmation, has the sort of order number. And by the way, and this is like something for later as well, all the order numbers are sequential for Analogue since the first product they released. And then I was just checking Twitter and everything. I was like, oh, thank God I got this product. I clicked on something, and then people were like, oh, it's sold out. I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? Like they actually published it 15 minutes after the sales started saying sold out. And, going a little bit deep on it with like a lot of the analog communities, it seems like it sold out in about 8 minutes, because people who tried to buy it at like what their time, Pacific time would have been 8:09, it wasn't available at that time.
You just still going deep on that analog, just.
And, the other one is people started to say what order numbers they were and when they bought it, and, products that they bought from Analogue prior to the going live. So it seems like there was about 10 to 12,000 orders from Analogue at that time. And then you could buy, and so a lot of people are saying you could only buy 2 pockets. So it actually said on their limit of 2, but when I was clicking on it, it looked like you could actually buy, and I might be wrong about this, and I'd love someone to write in and tell us if I'm wrong about this. It looked like you could actually buy 2 black ones and 2 white ones. I didn't try that because I'm not like scalping them or anything like that. I'm just buying it for me and my wife, but it actually looked like you could buy 2 of each. But even if you just sort of imagine that it's only 2 total, I would probably say there was about 15,000 Analogue Pockets sold within those 8 minutes.
You should definitely be able to do that, unless they've done any customizations, because I've been working with Shopify quite a bit recently, and I mean they're different listings, they're different products, so you could set maximum amount per I guess order or customer,
Yeah.
and if they're different listings, then yeah. So the only other way, I guess, is they could have put one limit, but then that means that if someone wants 2 black ones, they can't get 2 black ones, So
Yeah, so like I'll just say right up that I'm not 100% sure because I wasn't mucking around, and not that I thought it was going to sell out. I actually didn't think it was going to sell out like within 8 minutes. I definitely didn't expect that. I thought, yeah, maybe it will sell out in a couple of days. So I just want to get mine and just be sure. But yeah, the fact that it like sold out so quickly, I just wasn't sure if you could buy 2 of those, but I would probably say about 15,000, my guess would be, in terms of the number that was sold. So then, yeah, and just by the way, like on this, like how many they've made, and, like scaling is a really weird thing. If they were gearing up to make 100,000, let's say, it might actually not come out in 2021. It might be 2022. Like, it's like you need different processes to be able to actually build more of things. It's not as simple as just doing it faster in a lot of cases. It's not how these products are manufactured.
Especially considering, the world's just rebounding from a whole bunch of,
Yes.
parts factories and manufacturers being shut down. I'm assuming, some of these parts may be coming from, you could correct me on this, but may be coming from China and things like that. So
yeah, it's manufactured in China.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, they're just rebounding from that. We're now seeing that things are getting back to capacity, but they had to factor all that stuff in. The last thing you want to do is not be able to actually provide what someone's paid for. So you kind of need to, you need to, I guess, make sure you can deliver.
Yeah, and you know, one thing, because I think people have been pretty harsh on people who missed out, like kind of saying, "Oh, why didn't they log in when it started?" I think people are rightfully upset because, you know, they tried to buy it, so they were doing the right thing. They logged in at, you know, right when the minute started, and because of this shipping thing with Spotify, it's obvious that the immense traffic that hit them, it just couldn't spit out like quotes for the shipping. And some people were just like, it was spinning for 5 minutes. They tried it again and then it was sold out. So,
But
I kind of get it.
all that means, obviously, that's not good. But surely that means, well, instead of selling it in 8 minutes, it would have sold out in 5 minutes. You know, if they had actually a limit on
Yes.
what they could sell. So
Yeah. And, you know, I've always been a big believer with these type of things that, you know, when it's really limited, they should just limit it so that you can only buy one, like one pocket. You can't buy a black and a white, or even potentially, I think, maybe two blacks and two whites. I definitely don't think you should allow that. But I actually really think, yeah, you should be only allowed to buy one, because they've already said they're going to make more runs. So it's like, okay, I get that you want to maybe buy two. Maybe you're a collector, you want to play with one and keep one, or, you know, like my situation, my wife will get the other one. You know, I really think you have to limit it to one. And then I actually think the fairest thing to do would be, you know, you log in and maybe for the first 15 minutes, it's like a ballot, right? So you get in, you log in, you kind of quote unquote pay for it. So they test charge your account so that they know that, yes, you do have money in your credit card. And then for that like 15-minute window, you almost get your raffle ticket. So yes, I want to buy one. I'll get a black one. This is the kind of order. Press submit. And then at the end of the 15 minutes, they then go, okay, well, we've had 100,000 people who want this and we only have 15,000 units. It's just randomized who gets it. To me, that's like a hell of a lot more fair than, you know, you jump on, you quickly try to buy it. Like scalpers are in there probably faster with bots and automation. Like that, I don't know. It's just not a good experience, right?
So on that note, so you're saying maybe they should have actually purchased it for that raffle thing and actually spent the money? Because
No. So you can test charge accounts. So you could test charge a credit card. So then you know that they have the money, because the credit card company will push it back if they don't.
But if they
They'll just
have
say, like,
if they have
denied.
PayPal as an option, though, then there's going to be PayPal fees involved there, isn't there?
Yeah, just maybe remove PayPal and just
Okay.
go, sorry, you don't have PayPal. I just think like, to me, it's much fairer if you did something like that and said you can't, or maybe you need a credit card to actually register for this, but you could pay with PayPal if you're one of the fortunate people that, you know, your number came up, like you got the golden ticket, right? From a Willy Wonka reference. I don't know. I just look at it and go, you know, this has really made people bitter in a fair way, I think, actually. And, you know, you even had really funny examples like Frodo, Elijah Wood. He was trying to buy a pocket. So he had it in the cart and everything and clicked a few things.
I'm just
And then he
looking this
couldn't
up now, and I'm
proceed to
like,
purchase.
why have you linked Elijah Wood? Wow,
Yeah, he
that's
tried to
funny.
buy it and he couldn't.
That's
Right?
funny.
And a lot of people missed out. And just looking at the analog community, so like, you know, I'd look at these people as a real hardcore people. Even they missed out on it. You know, they were there right at the start and they still couldn't get through because of some shipping issues.
I do.
So
You say it's funny, and Frodo, like, I mean, that dude he's produced video games and things before, so it's
no,
he's in
I'm
the
just saying
industry.
like, no, but you know what I'm saying in the sense that like this thing is a lot bigger than I think people realize. And
Yeah.
the demand for it, and we'll cover that at later in the show in the special feature.
Can I just ask,
Let's.
how many, before we move on, just how many do you think were potentially sold, purchased by scalpers? Because
I actually think.
surely
I think a
knowing
lot.
Not Spotify, Shopify's like setup is pretty standard unless you've gone out of your way to, you know, like modify it a lot. So scalpers could easily build a lot of stuff there to actually like purchase multiple stuff
Yeah.
in multiple orders. So I wonder if that's actually not one of the reasons why it sold out, but that could have also, you know, we'll start to see a whole influx of analog pockets on show up on, you know,
Yeah.
places where scalpers usually sell. I don't know if they're allowed to sell that stuff
like
anymore
eBay.
on eBay
Yeah.
without being like an approved reseller.
So. So I'll clarify how that all works. So because I don't like dwelling on that stuff too much, but yes, so they're definitely scalpers. It's very hard to quantify how many. I mean, even with the earlier ones like the NT Mini, that was scalped a lot. And when I say a lot, it probably would have been small numbers, but was a big secondary market for it. In terms of eBay, there have already been people who have listed and sold the pre-order for the Analogue Pocket, and it's gone for about 4 times the price. So, you could buy it for $199 US, and someone had sold it for like $700-800 US.
How can you possibly get how does I know with eBay it's probably like ignorance is they're fine to be ignorant because they make money from it, but it's like when you're reselling a pre-order, there's no product. The product doesn't exist of what you're actually. It's like at that point you're just selling a code.
Yeah. So there's a clear policy from eBay on this. So you're allowed to sell pre-orders, but you need to be able to deliver within a 30-day window of when the auction closes. So all of these listings are in breach of eBay policies.
Okay.
So all of them, I mean, people are literally going through and reporting. If you search for Analogue Pocket, you actually won't see many on eBay because people, and let's be real, people are pretty bitter about this whole thing. And, I've seen people say, I'm never going to buy anything from Analogue now. And, and that's fine. You're entitled to your feelings. But yeah, a lot of people are actually going through and reporting it to eBay, saying, like, it even says in the listing, this won't get delivered to May 2021. So it's obvious breach of their listing rules. So yeah, but when it comes out next year in May 2021, given how such a small number compared to, I believe, the demand for it, man, I think these things are going to go for like $1,000 each on eBay. And by the way, and I said this last week, I think it's a really good deal for what you're getting. Like, I think it's a ridiculously good deal for like $199 US for this thing. Like, what it's capable of doing. And then you look at, the whole PSP era, a lot of people, bought PSPs just so that they could hack them, this offers out of the box Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance playability. And, let's be real, someone's going to, have custom firmware for this where you'll just be able to play ROMs on the SD. It's not something I'll do, but, that's going to happen for sure. So people will just look at this as a great, retro Nintendo, portable device. That's on the go.
My condolences to anyone that wasn't able to get one.
Yeah, same. And I'm actually like, I could have easily been in that window of like not getting it, and I probably would be so bitter in this whole section about it, because who knows when you're going to be able to get it post May 2021, right? Like they don't do these runs very often, so it might be late next year at the earliest before you can get it, which just absolutely sucks.